joined by Ed Laczynski, CEO of Zype. Ed, welcome.
Hi, Scott. How are you? Great to be here with you.
Great. So tell us about what is Zype?
So Zype is a video content management company. We build software for video product teams, amazing and awesome video products and services. So it could be video-powered mobile apps, connected TV applications, live streaming on social media. Pretty much we want to be at the center of businesses' journey in getting video from their camera to their audience.
Excellent, excellent. Now, just to kind of go into a little bit of nuts for the listeners that are not as familiar with Zype, so kind of walk us through a sample use case, because I had a chance to kind of poke around and looked at some of the features like import, upload, adding metadata, categories, player roles, and so forth. If you could just kind of walk us through why would people use it and how would they use it?
Yeah, so a typical customer is a media and entertainment company or an enterprise that has video they want to get out to their audience for like marketing purposes, right? So a customer of ours might be a sports league and they have, let's say, events they run throughout the year, might be football games. And on Friday night, they're going to film those games live and they want to get them to their audience, right? On their website, on social media, on their apps, on connected TV devices. And it's a very fragmented ecosystem, right? You know, it used to be like if you want to put video on the internet, you put it on your website or you put it on YouTube, right? Or if you want to get video on TV, you made a deal with like a cable company or a broadcast network. Now there's hundreds of places where your video is distributed and where consumers are watching every single day. So what we do is really create a software layer. So these customers have a single place where they can ingest their content, sort it, curate it, do some light editing, and then get it quickly out to those destinations where their consumers can buy it, watch it, enjoy it, and really power their services. So, you know, we really see ourselves as sort of like the system of record for these companies to give them a single place to get their video distributed everywhere.
So simply, would you say it's almost like a CMS, a content management system for video?
Yeah.
And also that you're not necessarily hosting all the video content yourself, but they can, but it's also allowing for them to curate it, like you said, that can reside in any different other video platforms.
Yeah, exactly. So we have customers that, let's say they use YouTube as their content management system, but now they want to figure out a way, how do I get that video out to Apple TV? Or how do I get it out to Sling TV? Or how do I get it to my own website? And you know, doing each of those things independently in a sort of in a bubble is, you know, you need someone who understands technology, someone who understands the business side of those things, and you can do it yourself. But when you're looking at doing that like 12 times over or 14 times over, and then maintaining those relationships with all these different fragmented endpoints that are out there, it gets very difficult. So we're really that content management glue that ties this all together. And you know, our customers are really interesting. We've had companies like CAA, Creative Artists Agency, build new sports broadcasting networks on their platform. We've had companies like Crunch Fitness, the gym chain, add an in-home fitness product using our services. So now, if you're a member of their gym, you can watch your spin class from home. And all these things are empowered and enabled because they have a easy to use, affordable software layer they have access to, instead of having to hire big development teams and business teams to figure all this out for them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the greatest benefit that you guys provide is time savings, because for in the absence of something like this that's unified at a single point of place, their staff would effectively have to manage not only individual relationship, but all the entire post-production process and upkeep. And anytime there is changes to the video assets, they have to ripple across, manually across all these different channels. So incredible amount of time saving, and the fact that you can sync it up so that everything is consistent. And it sounds like other aspects that you do is, in addition to that video, there's a host of other things you can add, right? So images, and actor biography as an example, bonus features. So other things that kind of enriches that experience depending on the destination.
Yeah, exactly. And you imagine if you have a large catalog of video and you might have actors or performers, or it might be the closed captioning file that comes along with it with all the words that people are saying, or maybe it's the social media URLs and the Twitter links for the people that are in the video. How do you get that to be valuable to you? How do you make use of that? And we really believe that while the video is incredibly important and ultimately what people are going to watch and engage on, the metadata around the video is as important, especially for discovery, for engagement, for governance, to understand like what's in your content and what you can do with it. So we have customers like Konami Entertainment, large Japanese media conglomerate. They run Yu-Gi-Oh, which is one of their cartoon products and trading card games. And they've stored their entire database of characters with us, including all the bios of the characters, high quality art, all the stats, like how many hit points a character has. That goes along and carried with the video. So on their website, they render that very quickly, and customers can now cross-relate and find new ways and new characters. And then when they go into other platforms, that data makes it there as well. So it's really, really important that metadata, that additional value, is available for you as an enterprise, so that you can then take it and do exciting things with it later on, and make it searchable and create new experiences for your customers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's really the values is around the metadata, not only for the discovery aspect, but also the specific laser focusing in terms of who that target audience is and what specifically they want to consume and when and so forth. Tell me a little bit about, when we talk about video, one of the key things around metadata or things that's, let's say, non-manually entered are going to be things like the actual non-SQL aspects of things, such as like narration. So unless there's actually narration layer that can be dissected into parts into metadata, how are you able to take content from the actual spoken words within a video?
So we give our customers APIs to integrate typically in a format called SRT or BTT, without getting too technical, and allows them to carry that into their streams and then distribute it elsewhere, as well as in a live environment or an environment where you're dealing with, let's say, a more established broadcaster where they have live encoders that can carry this metadata with it. We'll make sure that gets processed and sent along to the final destination or destinations, right? A lot of our customers are multicasting. They're broadcasting on Facebook and their website and Pluto TV or something like that. So the data has to kind of make it to all these places. We don't author that transcription. There's a lot of great services out there that do that. And part of our strategy at Zype is not to try to be all things, right? The video supply chain is incredibly complex. We want to compress it. We want to make it as easy as possible. But there's a lot of companies that specialize in things like transcription and closed captioning and things like that, among lots of other parts of the stack. And our philosophy is to be as open as possible, so customers have choice and they can bring those products in as needed.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Now, your primary focus is B2B channel. Do you also do B2C as well?
We could think of ourselves like B2B to C, right? So a lot of our customers are using our software kind of right out of the box, putting their label and brand on it and going to their consumers. But in terms of Zype having a direct-to-consumer brand, we don't right now. It's not something that we've taken off the list as something we might explore in the future. But right now, and I think, for the foreseeable future, we're really focused on helping our customers who are businesses get the most out of our product and have the most success in the video ecosystem. So where we have done some direct-to-consumer stuff is around tools that help our customers get audience. So for example, we have a short link system that you can make easily shareable videos that go directly into Twitter and Facebook and places like that, right from your Zype console. So it's a short code, kind of like, remember like Bitly, if you remember that? It's called zy.pe. So it's a really quick short code. So our brand is on it, but only to serve our customer at the end of the day. It's not about Zype. It's about how does our customer get that video shared on social media as fast as possible.
Yep. A couple of quick questions. One is a lot of the platforms, let's say, for example, LinkedIn or Twitter and Instagram, there's a different kind of behavior. So if you natively upload a video, then it automatically plays. Whereas if it's sent as a link or shared in some other format or through a scheduling tool, it doesn't display properly. It doesn't autoplay. So when you're distributing these videos onto different platforms, how do you ensure that you're behaving more natively than the traditional sharing distribution model?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when we had first come out with Zype, probably in the first 2 years, we only had that linking sharing, right? Where like you said, you can link to the video and maybe a thumbnail will appear, but for the consumer, their experience is they have to scroll down and they have to make a decision to click, and they come out of the experience and the viewability isn't there. So in early 2018, we launched a direct native push. So for example, in a Facebook environment, you can take yours, like let's say you filmed your company's event, your kickoff event, and you want to share, let's say, part of the keynote to the world, right? Maybe not the whole event because it's a private event, but you want to kind of get some excitement out there. If that live event was encoded with Zype's platform, we'll give you the ability to take that a clip of that event, and push it directly to Facebook natively, and then everyone on your channel can look at it right in their feed directly. And we do that through having native API integrations with all the platforms we work with. And this is really what I think of as our horsepower number, is that we have the most native integrations in the video ecosystem. Like, our engineering team is hyper focused on having direct relationships with all the places you can publish to and pull video from, to make sure we're up to date, to make sure we're doing it in the way that's easy and as clean as possible. And essentially, like you mentioned before, like taking as much burden off our customers as possible to make this as easy as possible for them.
Well, this is me just personally talking, but I think your type of a solution that has the most native API integration will be tremendously valuable for influencer markets. So I know, though you don't have a B2C suite per se, something like for Instagram celebrities and such, there would be a huge demand for their teams to actually have something like this to schedule it, because most scheduling tools just frankly don't do it on a native basis. Well, one quick question, and then we'll get into a little bit of kind of the journey, is that you guys have received, I think, some $8.5 million in funding over the course of 5 rounds. You received your Series A back in 2017. Where are you in the life cycle as a company, and are you close to break even? What's happening, or are you getting ready for your next round?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we, like you said, we went through, the sort of typical, I guess, maybe, I don't know if every journey is typical, but the sort of textbook kind of journey of going from a bootstrap company to seed round to A round and beyond. And it's been a really interesting journey. I learned a lot along the way. And one of the main things that's super important is that you have an eye on, optionality and profitability. So we're close to profitability now, actually. So we're still on that sort of Series A round money, and which is great. So we've been efficient with our capital. I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to really think about that and make sure that you don't get in a position where you can't grow anymore because you have capital constraints. And given the way the market's evolving, we're really excited about the space we're in. I mean, we look at this as a transitional period in not only consumer behavior, but the entire media supply chain. And with cord cutting, with ubiquitous bandwidth, with consumer devices changing, behavior changing. So we see the market growing. We look at this as like a $4 to $6 billion market, kind of as is, for like B2B kind of video streaming and video content products. But we think it's growing every day. Like you said, there's new influencers every day being minted that may have need for these tools, or might be on the network of one of our customers someday. So it's more is happening. So we're excited to continue to grow. We're looking at growth capital options, but nothing to report right now. I'm not in a fundraise right now, which as a CEO, when you're in a fundraise, it's to do it well, you have to be doing it, I think, almost full time, and so right now I've been really enjoying building the business with my team. We set up a great management team over the last couple of years that will allow us to go out and raise money, because we have all the sort of the pieces in place to kind of operate a company without getting too distracted. But yeah, it's a journey, and every day we kind of just ask ourselves, are the decisions we're making, are they in the interest of our customers or not? Are we being courageous for our customers? Are we being resourceful and thoughtful about our business? And as long as we're doing that, I think we're going to be fine.
So I want to focus on a couple of comments. One is the fact that you mentioned to the listeners, other entrepreneurs, particularly, that they really need to manage their burn rate. And I think there's a certain culture from, let's say, Silicon Valley, where they just get so flush with cash that they can't burn it through fast enough. But I think the prudent advice, especially as we look at potential recession around the corner, is how do you start to really think about using that capital, that cash flow, and cash flow is king, and
Yeah.
using it as prudently, as wisely as possible, and that you're organically generating that revenue source so that you can break even, not artificially, but based on real sales conversion. So
Yeah.
that's one point. The other point is that you're right. In terms of timing of video, it's amazing because video space has gone through so many innovations and so many new startups. So yet, without mentioning the name, this blue chip company that just recently did a conference and had all these different video assets, they can't seem to get it together. I mean, they're using so many different platforms and vendors,
Yeah.
and they can't seem to even report out what the various metrics around that particular video was across the different channels. So it's amazing to me that, to your point, there's so many changes that's happening, yet it's still very much a pain point, I think, that a lot of organizations haven't quite solved.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the fragmentation is making it interesting and exciting and opening up new doors for people who are creating content and also folks who are distributing content, but it's not getting any easier to do that, right? Like there's choices that need to be made. I mean, our approach with our customers is always, really have a sober view on, what are your goals with video? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to make money? Or are you trying to drive engagement? Are you trying to sell more product, let's say unrelated to video? Or are you trying to sell video itself? Or maybe it's philanthropy, maybe it's education, but you gotta have a goal in mind that drives like a metric. And you kind of have to work backwards, right? And it's not just about the technology. It's really a lot about the marketing. It's about the product management on the customer side. Like this is a product, video itself is a product. And if I'm building, let's say, a mobile app that's centered around video, how am I going to make sure that gets discovered in these marketplaces? How am I going to make sure that I have the right feedback loop so my consumers have a great experience? Or if they don't, I learn from that quickly and can respond. So I think we're seeing a lot of these video companies turn into kind of like software companies because of this. They have to have these disciplines and skills that typically like a SaaS company might have to do well. Now they have to start thinking about, because it's not just about taking my video and giving it to someone to distribute for me. I'm involved in that consumer relationship. So I think it's getting more fragmented. It's also continues to be very interesting. I mean, we see video as, it's becoming like the lingua franca of how we communicate as humans. I mean, the fact that you and I are doing this right now over internet IP video, and where in the past, like 3 years ago, we'd probably have to meet at a conference or a studio somewhere and do it more traditionally. It just tells you like how much things have changed. So I think we're super bullish on the opportunities around video and technology, and we think our space where we want to carve out our part of the world is in the helping to order that ecosystem and providing that system of record to help these companies make sense of it.
All right, so we only have 1 minute left, and we always ask our guests, which is, what was your greatest product or business failure, and what lessons learned can you share with others?
Yeah, that's when you asked me this at the top of the interview, I was thinking about this. There's been a few, right? Like you have, I think all entrepreneurs that have reached some level of success have had some failure, right? It's part of the, what makes people better is to fail, hopefully fail fast. For me, I can think of one when I was quite younger, I had a little bit more hair. I had started, I had early access to domain name registries. This is before GoDaddy, right? And I had the opportunity to acquire the 3-letter domain names that you'd associate with like household companies and stuff like that, and build a really good brokerage business. But I started it and I got distracted and I didn't pull the trigger and I wound up losing the opportunity. So it wasn't a failure in the sense of, I built this thing and it just flopped. I've had a couple of those, but this was more about not taking advantage of the opportunity. And what that taught me was, when you feel like something's right, when you have unique asymmetrical knowledge about an ecosystem and you have the ability to actually make it work. Like I understood the technology behind it, so I can actually build this domain business, but I chose not to because I was afraid or distracted or I wasn't all in. It's not going to work. So I learned to go all in when you see those conditions happen, and that's what I learned from it. So when we built Zype, I saw those same kind of things happen, and I said, I'm a little older and wiser. This business opportunity I'm talking about I was probably like maybe still in high school or right after, but I decided, like, don't hesitate. If you feel like you have the right conditions for success, go for it, and the market will tell you if you're right or not.
Beautiful advice. So again, when the stars align and you have no excuses. You must
Yeah.
take action. So today we've been joined by Ed Laczynski, CEO of Zype.
Thank you so much. Take care.